Could you do a presentation on the youth center, its history, and where it's going to?
Not today. Yes, I'd be happy to do it. I'd be happy to do it.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Las Vegas Rotary Club, a connection to this fine city like no other, with friendship and camaraderie you can actually feel, providing a grounding and a foundation of service to others that at times will go unrealized but fully recognized by the people you've served. My name is Kirk Alexander. I'm honored to be the 102nd president of this club, and today we're going to take 10 seconds of silence in honor of our fallen on 9/11. All right, I want to bring up Jerry Engel. He's going to lead us in inspirational leadership thought and invocation for the day.
I can hold it. Okay, this is a statement that I made. Oh. This is an invocation I gave October 7th, 2021. It's certainly applicable today. There's an old saying, there are no atheists in foxholes. When we feel helpless and overcoming a problem like health or some catastrophe, then we look to God for help. When we wake up in the morning and our body functions normally, we go to work and hope it will be a normal day without incident. If it is, we take it for granted and do not think about the everyday that is a miracle created by God, and we do not think of thanking God for an uneventful day. In the Judeo-Christian religion, we are told that God gave us life, cares for each and every one of us every day of our life. We now understand how life was created and can trace our makeup with DNA, and now know that each of our bodies has over 3 billion cells, each doing a specific function to allow us to get on with our daily needs. This is in itself a miracle. Because of this knowledge, many young people no longer believe in God, because we now know the secret of creation. To those who believe this, I submit this question: who created the science to make this miracle called man? There can only be one answer: God. In closing, in the past, you've heard me say the ancient Hebrew prayer called Shehachionu, which says, "Blessed art thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has given us life, sustained us, and allowed us to reach this moment." I'd like you all to take a moment, think about this moment, look around the room, feel the energy of love, feeling of people who are gathered here to make this a better world. And don't forget to thank God for a normal day. Thank you.
Amen. And now if we can find Tanya Waggle in the audience. Is she here today? No? Not at all. Okay. So, what are we going to do for a song then? How are we going to sing? What kind of song? What would you guys like to sing? Something that we always sing? What, Jerry, you want to do that? Okay, this will be interesting.
No ladder. I'll get on Kirk's shoulders. You know, we haven't done this in a long time, but it doesn't mean we can't do it without a ladder. So you remember the Jerry Engel combo, where we sing 2 songs, and we're going to blend them together. It's God Bless America and America the Beautiful. So we're going to divide the room. I guess we'll go, I guess this table is the center. So from here this way, we'll do God Bless America, and the rest of the room will be America the Beautiful. So I'll clear you in, and we'll start with God Bless America. You ready? God bless America, land that I love. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, that transfer waves of grace. From the mountains to the ocean, white and gold. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Next time I'll try the latter.
Thank you, Jerry. That was great.
That was brilliant.
All right, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance today, our Sergeant at Arms, Debbie Howard.
So half the room is going to do, no, I'm kidding. I pledge allegiance.
Okay, before you are seated, please, let's, of the things we think, say, or do, recite the four-way test. Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, let's have a seat, and we're going to bring up our Let's Build Something Together Rotary moment shared by Larry Goldstein.
Well, hello everybody. My name's Larry Goldstein, and I'm coming up on 2 years as a member of the Las Vegas Rotary Club. Kirk, thank you very much for the opportunity to share a Rotary moment. There's two things. I love Rotary, every aspect of it, but two things I totally enjoy are the speakers and what Rosalie has set up as far as what she's calling corporate tours. In late March, she set up, and I was privileged enough to go to see the Opportunity Village campus on Buffalo. And I had heard about Opportunity Village. I really had no exposure to it, but I was totally fascinated by the overall feeling of warmth and acceptance for all the people who are the beneficiaries of the deeds. But it was when we went into the campus part that I was really blown away. And having somebody with Down syndrome in my family, we always worry what happens when the parents are no longer able to care for that child. And when our guide told us that the people who go and have residence in this campus are able to stay for their entire lives, as long as they obey the rules, I was just absolutely amazed at the goodwill and the work and the ability to keep something like that going. So I just encourage everybody, when we have these opportunities to see what great people in our community are doing, way beyond anybody's expectations, go experience it. It was just an amazing experience for me personally. Thank you.
All right, very good. Don't go anywhere, Larry. I want you to sign a brick for me. While he's doing that, I'll briefly explain to you what this is all about. We're going to build a tree well around a tree that we've planted, and I have confirmation that we're going to be doing it at Beckley Elementary School. How about that? And obviously it won't take place until next summer, but while we collect these bricks throughout this year. All right. So, if you would please. There you go. So we figure this tree well will protect the tree that we've planted at Beckley Elementary School. And those that have shared their Rotary moment throughout the year will be recognized with the brick in the well. Thank you, Larry. All right, so I'd like to thank the meeting champions today for setting up, Bob Warner and Larry Cohn. We had Liz Rothwell, Nikki Junium, and John Siebel welcoming our members today. David Jones and Stu Lipoff working on the marketing and presentations on the screen. At the guest table, we had Lin Ing, Bob Pizer, and Mijong Lombardi selling raffle tickets. Closing meeting today is Nikki Junium and Michael Williams. Recording history, our scribe, Rodney Tucker. And capturing the moments, meeting photographer, Liz Rothwell. All right, thank you everybody for your help. We can't have these meetings without you. So without getting too carried away here, at the head table, Larry Goldstein, properly. John Ralston and his guest, Megan. They'll be speaking with us later. And so from here, I'd like to go to the teachers that are here and introduce themselves and talk a little bit about where they're from.
Hi, my Rotarians. Sorry, I have spinach in my teeth, which is super delicious. Pardon me. Okay. Hi, my Rotarians. I am Shannon Brown, the principal at Beckley, for all of you who don't know me. I brought with me today our 4th grade teacher, Miss Peggy Walker. She has been at Beckley for 5 years. Her lovely offspring have been through Beckley for all of their years and are now in like high school and stuff. That's fun. And she is also our student council chairperson. So she and our student council is like our Kitteract group, which helps do all of our Rotary items, including all of our food drives and different fundraising things that we do to help support in honor of the Rotary Club. So please welcome the lovely Miss Peggy Walker.
Thank you. And from McCall Elementary, I'm pleased to present Amanda Lush, principal, and she's going to introduce her guest.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I always say this, but the support from Rotary is unmatched in Las Vegas. So there's no way we could do all the wonderful things we do at our campuses without our community support. Today I brought with me Mr. Merrick Murray. He's my assistant principal and probably my right hand and a little bit of my left. And there's so many things I couldn't do without his assistance. And I'm wonderful, wonderful man. Happy to have him on our campus. And I've worked with him for a long time, actually, and managed to get him to come on over and hang out with us at McCall. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful partnership. So thank you again so much for having us and all that you do to support our schools.
I'm Gwen Hall, and I'm with During, and my people aren't here. But sadly, they lost their principal to cancer, and the funeral is tomorrow. So they're excused. And I'm sorry. She was wonderful.
What school was that from, Gwen? Oh my goodness. All right. On that note, let's gather together in the center of the room and make some announcements. Rod Tucker, Gwen Hall, and Karen Wiesenhunt, and Liz Rothwell.
Good afternoon,
yes.
Rotarians.
Yeah, go ahead, Janice.
I have 2 announcements today. Both of them are on September 23rd. First, at 8 a.m. in the morning is our SOAR Awards. So that's Safety Officer Awards recognition. And that is at City Council Chamber in City Hall from 8 till 10. Please come out and support all our heroes in our community who will be presented with trophies for all the work that they do. On the same day, this is fast approaching, is our Youth Exchange Golf Putting Tournament. And that is, again, September 23rd. It's at 5:30 at Angel Park. Thank you to all the supporters, especially Alaric Group over there, our major sponsor. And all of you, we've got 18 whole sponsors. We've got 3 other major sponsors, so thank you. We couldn't do that without you. We're still looking for golfers, and my deadline is Monday. So if you would like to golf, it's a putting tournament. You don't actually have to know how to golf. So please come out and support the Rotary Youth Exchange Program of the Las Vegas Rotary Club.
Gwen Hall with the Education Committee, and I'm again asking for you to be generous like you always are for our 6 schools and our 4,000 students. Some of you have been very generous so far, and we appreciate it. We're about 1/4 of the way to our goal. So please either make a cash contribution through Green Book or bring candy to here, and I will keep it in packages until we need it.
Hi, everybody. I'm here to promote a very special event. It's One Drop with Las Vegas Rotary Club. There is a sign-up sheet in the Green Book, and what it is we are going to be walking. We need about 30 volunteers on Saturday, November 9th at Springs Preserves. This event has been brought to us by Tom and Leslie Thomas, and it's a great opportunity. There is a $2,500 sponsorship, which they have hosted. We get awareness there. We get to wear either our Rotary shirts or the One Drop. But it's a family-friendly event, Saturday, November 9th at 7. There's entertainment, special guests, food, games, and a great way to engage. And the walk is only 2.1 miles. But we need your help. We need volunteers. We're going to have an education table because anything we do in the community that we participate as a group, we want to have an education table so we can, make people aware who are not familiar with Rotary. And we're looking for a couple captains. So please sign up in the Green Book, and we thank you in advance. It's going to be a fun day.
That was Janice Lanke. She's the PE of our club. There's a question I have for you, though, before Liz gets started. The money, or the walk, is there money raised for the walk?
No.
There is not?
No.
Okay.
It's supporting them. The sponsorship gets us the ability to have 30 sponsors there participate in the walk. And in the Green Book, it gives all the activities that we'll be involved in our volunteer capacities.
Very good.
I am Liz Rothwell. I am not president-elect. I know, right? 2 announcements. I am the liaison for our Interact Club at Clark High School. That organization on the campus, they have a closet that they have available to any student on campus. It involves and contains anything from personal hygiene items to clothing to food to school supplies. We've been asked if we could collect belts, men's and women's belts for their closet. So they don't have to be new. They can come from your closet. They can come from the thrift store. But for the next few weeks, if you have any belts, you can just leave them on the table, and I'll grab them and take them, and I'll donate them. The second thing I needed to do, just in case Tucker forgets with his announcement, is could you please, if you're coming to Alpine Picnic, can you sign up for what you're bringing in the book? It's there with your attendance in the back. It'll just ask for your name and what you're bringing. That way we don't have a million salads and no dessert. Okay.
Rodney Tucker, acting president of the 25 Club. Thank you, Brian, for the reminder. Just one primary issue, which was the canned food drive. We had our official off-premise kickoff at 3 Square this last Monday, where we were able to see and have a tour of their facilities and how they interact with Salvation Army, with whom we work with on the canned food drive. Kirk, do you want me to go into the denominator right now or later?
Not yet.
Not yet. Good, thank you. Okay. Any rate, we know that Kiwanis once again are going to be here in a humble state when they appear. So that's my assurance that all of you will be very generous in making sure that we keep them in that position for as many years as possible. And the canned food drive is actually, when's our actual date? When we end it? Oh, it's the Thursday before Thanksgiving is when the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is when you can make the final donations, and then we announce the inevitable winner the next day. Thank you.
And we have an Alpine Picnic coming up?
You just announced the Alpine Picnic.
She just mentioned to bring food.
You're just like an extension of my personality, but a better looking one. Okay, anything else? Everybody? Oh, the next 25 Club meeting. Should I really be the acting president? 3rd of October, correct? Is it right? 3 October? Yeah, 3 October. And we're going to do that one at Huddles downtown. They came and spoke to us one time about their brewery. So we've made arrangements with them and their next door neighbor who own a barbecue facility to have us. We'll have a really big shindig, and they're free Lyft and Uber rides home based on your condition after the party. Oh, and that's the kickoff for Santa Claus. I shouldn't be doing this. You could just put your hand behind my back. I can be the puppet. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your help and announcements and the continued efforts to make these things go off very, very smoothly. I think we've got the ride for our 4 youth exchange students to Huntington Beach, California, the weekend of the 21st. So we're doing good. I think we have a primary and a backup for that. And from there, I think you have some time. Looks like, yep, we have some time for fellowship, and we'll get the speaker started in about 10. What? Oh, thank you. One other thing. So there's a member of the club that has a sister, and she's here today, and she is presenting a Rotary banner from the club in Monaco. And that exchange is between her and Debbie. Yeah. Monaco.
Good to see you. Good.
Yeah. Let me get a picture. Yeah. There you go.
We'll hold those up like this. Thank you. Welcome. Glad you're here. I know I saw you.
Very nice. Thank you.
See you. Good to see you.
And that leads us to the raffle. Oh. Should we probably do that? Huh? Let's do the raffle after we introduce our guests. Pardon me? You got another one? Oh. Oh.
We have a visiting Rotarian. Laura, thank you for joining us today. I'll let you finish chewing and share with us a little bit.
Hi, I'm Lori Little from the Rancho Cordova, California Rotary Club. I'm really pleased to be here today because this is a huge group as opposed to our Rotary Club, which has maybe 8 members that show up every week. And every one of us have a job, so we're trying to recruit more members. But I do want to say 2 of our big items on our agenda this year is completing more Stop the Bleed courses, because the Rotary Club is actually teaching lay rescuers how to use tourniquets and be that lifesaver while further professionals come. And the other one is that we have a dictionary program that all the children in the public schools in the 3rd grade get a dictionary. And it's a presentation to the schools, and we actually go through the dictionaries with the 3rd graders, asking questions about, do you know what service is? Do you know what fellowship? Let's look that up in our dictionaries and figure out what organizations do this, what type of individuals that you know of. So anyway, that's just a little bit about us. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. And I wanted to present you with one of our Las Vegas Rotary Club flags.
Thank you so much.
Let's get a picture of that. Did you get a picture of this? Get a picture? All right. So let's go through the list of guests of the club. We have any guests of the club today?
Good afternoon, Mr. President, fellow members. I have as my guest David Maffey, my son. He is with the Downtown Rotary Club and just joining us for today's meeting. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, not a guest of the club yet, but I have Kane from my office, and I'll break him down eventually, so he'll be a guest of the club. And then Mike has a guest of the club that he will introduce. Mike. Thank you so much.
Hi there. I have as a guest of the club looking to join, Hank Wang from JLL. He's recently relocated here from Newport Beach.
Very good.
Who has one? Jerry?
Me?
No.
Any other guests? Debbie? Brian?
I think we only sort of introduced Neha. So Neha, it's her brother that is a member of our club, Simran, and she was the one who obviously just presented the flag from Monaco, but she's with us today, and we're happy to have her.
Thank you.
Good. Yes, indeed.
I think we might have one more over here.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Lisa Motley here. And my guest today is my beautiful mom, Val, otherwise known as Grandma Val. She's in town for the last couple weeks as I purchased a puppy. So she's here helping me with the puppy. So she'll go back to Minnesota in the snow on Saturday, but happy to have my mom here.
Very good. Thank you, Lisa. Any other guests to be introduced today? We have some visiting Rotarians that are in the back room. I think we should probably recognize them, probably fineable even. The gentleman back here with a hat on, has anybody, who's that? Where you been, Bobbin?
Hey, good to see you. Where have I been?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got married a month ago. So.
Hey, there you go. Congratulations.
Sorry to break any hearts in here. But no, I just bought a house. Well, I have my house here still, but we just bought a house in Temecula. And so if you guys are ever in Temecula, most of you can call me. Some of you, please don't. No, I'm kidding. You guys can all call me. We'll hang out. But I'm still a member here, so it's good to be back. I'm here this week. I won't be here for a few months, but it's good to be back.
Well, welcome home. Welcome home. Good to see you. All right, now let's go to the raffle. For the pot, $1,570, I think. The ticket number is 7457. 7457. Mr. Warren. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you.
So guess who gets it? The foundation.
Foundation. Of course. Of course. Oh, you're going to win it today, are you? Look at you. 2 of hearts. We live to fight another day. Your $10. There you go, your constellation. That's it. All right, and for the lottery bucks, it's the ticket number is 7480. 7480. Let's get a picture. Okay. Do you know why we need a picture?
To prove I'm here?
Yes.
Exactly. I'll be back.
There you are, honey.
Thank you. Perfect.
We weren't going to call you visiting Rotarian. Yeah. What's that? Yeah, why not? Yeah, I will. I will. Enjoy your fellowship. We got about 10 minutes. You know, the louder you guys get, the more I feel that this was what it's all about. I just love it when we have a chance to have fellowship and you guys just get going in the conversations. That's wonderful. I love that kind of friendship, camaraderie, the fellowship that we're all experiencing. I'm going to bring Mike Ballard up. He's going to introduce our speaker today. I think it'll be quite appropriate for the season that we're in. I think you'll enjoy this.
Okay. If you know who John Ralston is, you know who John Ralston is. And if you don't, you should. Just so you know. This year marks his 40th year in Vegas. And anything you want to know politically that's going on in the state and in the region and in the country, he probably has a great idea what's going on. Please help me welcome Mr. John Ralston.
Can I take this out of here? I'm like the Sundance Kid. I like to move around. So I can't tell you how great it is to be back in front of this group. I was thinking about it, and I've given, as you might imagine, many, many speeches over the years. And I've been in front of this group probably more times than any of you want to remember. But this is one of my favorite groups. It's just, and it's great seeing some people that I've known for, you know, Mike just mentioned 40 years. I've known Mike probably, what, at least half that time, maybe longer, yeah. Yeah, but there are other people here like Mr. Quiet. It's so great to see you. I think I met him shortly after I started covering politics in 1986, and Jerry Engel and I go back decades as well. I think he started giving me a hard time in the late 80s, if I remember. I probably saved some of your emails, Jerry, and probably some people here don't know you use language like that. But it is great to be back in front of you, and I'm going to do what I usually do, which is just make it really interactive and take as many questions until the boss man here gives me the hook. But first I want to talk a little bit about my favorite subject, and you probably already know what it is, the Nevada Independent, which is about to celebrate in January its 8th year of existence. I can't believe it. Yes, you should clap. Sound like Jeb Bush. This has been, of all the things that I've done, the most rewarding, the most exhausting thing that I've done running a nonprofit. It's been a real roller coaster. We are doing well now, but we can always use more supporters. We're a nonprofit. Did I mention we're tax deductible, 501c3? Everyone here should be a donor. Don't you think, Mike? Don't you think everyone in this room should be a donor? You should be. Just give us a few bucks every month. It helps. We have thousands of donors now, and I could not be prouder of the staff that we have put together. We have 18 people now, and they're doing a phenomenal job. And one of them, by the way, is here, Megan Riley, who is our development person. That is just, she knows more people than I do. That's how many people she knows, and she does a great job for us. And one of the things she helps do is help organize our events. And one of the great things we've done at the Indy is try to create community dialogue through events, and we're doing some up north and down here. We have a couple coming up in case you don't know about them. Ready to mark your calendars? On September 25th, we are doing a debate that I'm moderating in the Las Vegas mayor's race at the Fontainebleau. It's a great venue. It's going to be televised too, but you should come out. It's a great theater. We're doing that there. And then our big annual conference, Indy Fest, is October 17th and 18th, and our headliner there is, you ready? Anybody know? John Ralston would be a draw, but not as quite as big a draw, not quite as big a draw as Mark Wahlberg, the new Las Vegas Red. Yeah, whoever said really, pony up. So we are having Wahlberg for a one-on-one with me on the evening of the 17th. And then the next day, we're going to have a series of panels and interviews on topics of the day, education, housing. We're going to have some exclusive poll results. I'll be doing a one-on-one with Sam Brown, the Republican candidate for U.S. Senate. We had hoped to have a debate, by the way, but Jackie Rosen wouldn't do it. That's a long story. I don't want to talk about it. But I hope you will support us at Indy Fest. It's a great event, and I'm really thrilled to have gotten Mark Wahlberg to talk about making Las Vegas Hollywood East. And so I'm really happy about that. So with that introduction, I'm ready for you guys to do what you always do, which is fire away. Fire away. Go ahead, sir. Let me put it to you this way. I consider this one of the smartest, most savvy groups that I speak to, and I'm not going to embarrass you by even answering that question.
Tell us about who you think in the major races, the Senate, Congress, which ones are competitive, who's pulling ahead, who's not.
So there are a few things to talk about, Mike, and that's going. And the one thing I don't have to talk about really are the House races, which are really not competitive. The Republicans had hoped they were going to be competitive, but they're not spending much money because they don't have much faith in the candidates that have been nominated in those races for the districts down here against Susie Lee, Stephen Horsford, and Dina Titus. Harder to win in a presidential year than a non-presidential year. So let me start at the top. The presidential race here is a dead heat. Before Biden dropped out, Trump was ahead here in most polls. And by the way, I could go on forever about how bad polling is in Nevada. But every poll that I had seen, public and private, before Biden dropped out, Trump was ahead outside the margin of error of the poll. And so the Democrats were very worried. Since Biden dropped out, there's been a shift here, as there have been in every other state, for swing state, by the way. We're one of only 7 states that matter. I think probably most of you know that, and so there's a lot of attention being paid to it. Now the race is a dead heat. You see polls with Trump ahead by 1 or Harris ahead by 1 or 2, and I think that this is the best opportunity in many years, probably since the Republicans have not won here since 2004. Some of you may or may not know that, but they have a real chance this time, and I think there's a lot of confidence. I just put out some registration numbers this morning. The Democrats, who used to have a big lead in this state, as you know, in voter registration, are now ahead by less than 1% in voter registration. And as you know, the explosion of independents has made it much more difficult electorate to read. So I think that the Republicans are more confident than they've ever been. But we all know, speaking of the debate, that this gentleman doesn't know who won. Things can change. Things can change overnight in a race now, and so I think it's a pure toss-up in the presidential race. What has really surprised me is how far ahead of either Biden or Harris Jackie Rosen is running. There is not a poll out there that has been taken recently that doesn't show her ahead by fewer than double digits. Do you know the last time that somebody won a U.S. Senate race in Nevada by double digits? Anybody remember a guy by the name of Richard Zeiser? Yeah, he lost to Harry Reid. One of Harry Reid's few races back in, I think, '92. That's how long it's been. Jackie Rosen's not going to win that race by 10 points. But she is well ahead of Sam Brown, and it's because she's run a very good campaign. She's not like, the most dynamic candidate, but she's run a very good campaign. It's all TV and digital now, right? And Sam Brown just hasn't. And so Republicans are making one last-ditch effort to try to save him. They're spending a lot of money on TV. I don't know how many of you have seen the ads at the Senate race that are going to have the most impact on your lives and the lives of everybody else in this state are twofold. The first is the governor's effort to stop the Democrats from getting a supermajority in the state legislature. It may be obvious, but what that would mean if they got a supermajority is the governor might as well go to Tahiti for 4 months, because he's not going to have any impact if they want to pass whatever they want to pass. They will be able to override his veto. So what are the chances of them getting a supermajority? 50-50, I'd say. They probably are going to get one in the Senate. Now, they have to have it in both houses. And so the governor is focused almost completely on the Assembly, where for a change, they've recruited some quite good candidates, and I think that they may have a slight edge right now in some of those races. But that'll have a huge impact on all of our lives if the Democrats get a supermajority and if they don't. And you should think a lot about that when you're voting for whoever you're going to vote for, because the Democrats, there's only about 5 seats in play out of the 42 in the Assembly, and you may live in one of those districts. If you do, you're getting a lot more mail than most of us are getting. But those races are very, very close, and I don't think either side is that confident, although I think the Republicans are a little bit more confident than the Democrats. But that's going to have a huge impact on the lives of Nevadans, whether or not the Democrats have a supermajority in Carson City. And the other thing that people, I see, Mike, I'm doing what politicians I cover do. They don't answer the question they were asked. They answer what the question they want to answer. So I'm expanding a little bit more. The other thing that's hugely significant in this state and will affect all of us for a long time is question 3 on the ballot. How many of you know what question 3 is? Raise your hands. Be honest. Okay, for those of you who don't, it actually passed last time. It has to pass twice. And it would change, unless it's repealed by a vote of the people, the way that we elect candidates. It's called ranked choice voting and open primaries. They have these are two completely unrelated concepts, and if you've seen some of the ads, the reason that open primaries is tied into ranked choice voting is because people don't really understand ranked choice voting, but there is a visceral understanding and enthusiasm for open primaries. Why can't I vote in the primary if I'm a registered nonpartisan? It's not fair. And that is what and with the explosion of independents now in Nevada, it's 40% of the electorate, that has a lot of appeal. And so the ads are not talking about ranked choice voting, which would be a much more significant change than open primaries. And the ranked choice voting exists in some other jurisdictions. It's had mixed results, and what it is you have to vote for, here it would be 5 candidates, and then you keep going until someone has a majority. And so it'll change things. The argument is that if you do it that way, then the more moderate candidates will have a better chance. Again, it has worked in some jurisdictions, not so well in others. But you should really get educated on question 3 if you're not, because it'll change a lot of things. And you know where the best place to get educated on question 3 is? Thank you very much. What else? What do you got? I think you got a mic. Give me a chance to get some water. Oh, coffee, even better.
So as a nonpartisan independent, reading the argument for ranked choice voting is very appealing. But then Kimberly Strassel had a story about 3 weeks ago about Alaska, where the electorate wants out of it, the polls were saying, but huge money's coming in to keep that from happening. And all that huge money, as far as, and I've read in other spots too, and you maybe can opine on who's paying for the commercials here, is progressive money. So on the one hand, intellectually I say, this should be good. But on the other hand, I say, well, they hate it in Alaska, and it's huge money coming in from progressives. Comments?
So far be it from me to ever correct anyone in this room. But let me tell you a couple things. First of all, you're right about Alaska. It's become very controversial. They're trying to repeal it. Now, whether your characterization of they hate it in Alaska is right, we'll find out after the repeal vote. There's a lot of money coming in, as you mentioned, to stop that. And to its credit, the RJ sent a reporter up there, and they had a story. I think it ran this past weekend. You should look at it, about the countervailing forces on the repeal effort there. It is not being funded by progressives. There is no group more committed to defeating question 3 in this state than progressives and Democrats. The money that's funding this is from some out-of-state billionaires who have done this successfully and gotten gotten it passed in places like Alaska and a few other places. Now, theoretically, the Republican Party is also very opposed to to ranked choice voting. They don't want the current system upset. But the Democrats are much more committed to keeping the system the way it is in this state. This is just about Nevada because they've done so well for so long here. And they don't want to change, and they want to elect progressives and folks on the left, which is easier to do theoretically the way the system is set up now. But the money funding this is not coming from Nevada. It's coming from a few billionaires. And you know, sir, there's another place you can find out exactly who they are, and I think you know where that is.
I have a question for you. Right over here.
Okay, hi.
Yes, thanks for coming. I always enjoy when you come and talk to us.
Thank you.
I am curious what you think the odds are that Nevada will be the state that ultimately decides the president.
It's a great question. I'll tell you a couple things about that. So conventional wisdom has it, and there's reason for this, to think that Pennsylvania is most likely to be the most influential of the 7 or so swing states, as the most electoral votes. But because North Carolina is in the mix now, there are scenarios where, and Nate Silver, who some of you may know, the most famous, he's a gambler and he's a predictor of elections and uses probabilistic techniques to predict. He put out something recently that Harris can now lose Pennsylvania if she wins North Carolina and Nevada. So, some of you may be, unlike me, sane and not be on Twitter or X. I highly advise not doing it. If you're not, stay off. It's a crazy place, but as a journalist, I have to be on there. If you look at my Twitter background, it is a map, and it shows 266 to 266, with one state not counted that happens to have 6 electoral votes. That's a possible scenario. And remember, because of how the votes are being counted, we're going to be one of the last states to come in because we're in the West. And so Nevada could decide it. I'll tell you a funny story. Again, by the way, Nate Silver, who I just mentioned, has what he calls voting power index, I think it is, for each of these states. And Nevada has now moved up to 3rd or 4th behind Pennsylvania, Georgia, and there may be one other one ahead of us. But I'll tell you how pivotal Nevada is just from 2016, when some of you may know that I analyze all the early votes, and it's still true even with mail balloting, but about 2/3 to 3/4 of the votes are in by the end of early voting, and I can do a lot of analysis and based on where I know the votes are and predict outcomes. I had predicted before the 2016 election on, I think, the Friday before, that Trump was going to lose Nevada. So what happened that evening is I was actually live on TV with Dick Bryan and Bob List, 2 former governors, doing analysis, and suddenly my phone starts lighting up. And that's because the blue wall had not yet crumbled for Hillary Clinton, and it looked like Nevada was going to decide the election. And it's all these people pinging me saying, are you sure Trump's going to lose Nevada? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because Nevada's going to decide the election. But then, of course, Hillary Clinton lost Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin, and we didn't matter. But people are paying close attention to Nevada. I assure you, both of the campaigns are. Kamala Harris's husband is here in Nevada today. Do you know who's going to be in Nevada tomorrow? I advise you to stay out of downtown Las Vegas tomorrow night because Trump is having a rally in downtown Las Vegas tomorrow. And they're going to keep coming. So we're going to be important. Whether we're the tipping point state or not, I don't know. But I think we have a better chance than any year I've covered this.
John, earlier you kind of rightfully joked about how candidates answer questions in debates. And I think a lot of us feel the same way that you jokingly mentioned about. A question's asked can be a yes or no answer. They not only don't say yes or no, they go on a completely different topic. Both sides, what I've seen in most debates. Does the moderator have any kind of leeway to press them on that, or are there parameters set up as the moderator before that begins? Because something needs to change, because we're watching a debate to get some answers, and we're not even getting them on topic.
One of the reasons I love this club so much, I'm now reminded, is you guys are asking the questions about my favorite topics. First is Nevada, the tipping point state. Now, debates and moderators. Right before I came here, I posted a column about this. You should read it. It's on a website I may have talked about once or twice. This is the most infuriating thing to me, and it has nothing to do with Republican, Democrat. It has nothing to do with any of that. Many of you may know that I used to be on TV, and I moderated a few debates, and I did one-on-one interviews, and if someone dodged, it was not going to be pretty. Some of you may remember that. It drives me nuts. First of all, the fact that, think about this. Think about this. We're about to elect the most powerful person in the free world. And what ABC and CNN were talking about in negotiating with the candidates was whether they should mute their microphones when the other is talking. Think about, I mean, does that strike anybody as incredibly infantile? Like, don't mute their microphones. First of all, it's supposed to be a debate. If they want to yell at each other, when they let them do it. That's illustrative of something too, is it not? So, I mean, give me a break. So, that drives me nuts. Artificial time limits that are put on drive me nuts. Not asking follow-up questions drives me nuts. It's the only time I really miss being on TV is when I'm watching these and my wife tells me to stop screaming at the TV. This is an interesting question you raise about the moderators, and it's actually maybe even more controversial than you think. There are people who, and I wrote about this in the column, there are people who think the moderators should just sit there like potted plants and ask the questions and let the candidates go back and forth. Now, what the moderator should do is ask a question, and then, let's just say the question is about immigration, and then let the candidates go back and forth and guide the discussion. If maybe it's 1.5 minutes and the other person talk, but don't like cut them off and say we have to let them do it. And then if they say something that is patently false, and I mean patently false, you got to jump in and say it. Now, should the candidates be prepared to call their opponents out if they of course they should be. And when they don't, that should tell you something as well. So yeah, they should. They did it a little bit in that debate. I think they should have called Harris out a few times that they didn't. But the nonsense that this was 3 against 1 and everything else that Trump's acolytes are saying now is just nonsense. And even if it were, if you're running for president of the United States, that shouldn't be a problem. You should be able to navigate around it and have a strategy for it. But I think the moderators need to sit back, let the candidates go unless there is a reason to jump in and say, well, wait a second, that statistic is patently false. Here's what the real statistic is. First, you give the opponent a chance to correct, but if they don't, you got to jump in.
So thank you, John, for being here. Given the polls were so wrong in the Hillary versus Trump endeavor, should we really believe them now, and is there anything to learn from why they got it so wrong back then?
Well, that's 2 cycles ago now, and they were to some extent better, but still flawed in 2020. There's still talk, well, Trump is stronger than he looks in the polls because there's a lot of people who don't want to say they're voting for Trump. He's got this silent majority going for him. I don't know if that's as true anymore as it used to be, but the whole concept of polling, which used to be a real science, has disappeared. Now you have people who call themselves pollsters who only call landlines. How many of you have a landline that you use regularly? Okay, you're a dinosaur, sir. Some of them are what are called opt-in polls from the internet. Some of them are just text polls. And not all polls are created equal. I've been writing about this for years. And so it's especially bad in Nevada. It started being really bad in 2010 when every single public poll showed Harry Reid losing to Sharon Angle. And in fact, the first time I dealt with the aforementioned Nate Silver, who said Sharon Angle has an 87% chance of winning Nevada, and I emailed him and I said, you're wrong. She's going to lose, and you're putting garbage polls in there in your average. And I can't even tell you the pleasure I felt telling Nate Silver I told you so after the election. So I think you should treat him with skepticism. I do. One thing a lot of people in the media don't do is what we really do. I forget the name of the organization I work for, but what we do is we look at the crosstabs. We look at whether it's the right amount of Democrats and Republicans and independents, and say what, when we write our stories, what that might do to have they surveyed 15% Hispanics or 35%? Is the north-south balance correct? All that stuff. But there is such a ravenous appetite in my business for polls that often stuff is put out there that's just not credible. It shouldn't be credible, but it becomes credible because we give it our imprimatur, and I think it's very, very dangerous. So that's a long way of saying that I think some polls are trustworthy. I think there's only 2 or 3 people who poll in Nevada whose polls I really, really trust. And that's really expensive to hire those guys. Believe me, I've tried. And so, the conversations are always the same. What part of nonprofit do you not understand? I hope, because I don't think it's good, I hope that the polls are close to accurate this time, because there's so many recriminations that occur when they're not. But I'd be skeptical of any polls if I were you.
I want to make a comment. I'm neither Democrat nor Republican, but I try to vote every year, every 2 years, 4 years, the person that's the least corrupt, that's et cetera, et cetera. So
how does your corruption meter work? Could you let me know?
So back in 1992, a bunch of us got together and said, we're going to make up our own party, Natural Law Party. Do you recall that?
I do.
So I think, I can't remember if I ran for governor or Senate. I ran for something. I got to run for something.
It seems like a very well-grounded party,
Yeah.
sir.
And so what happened was all my Democratic friends go, we can't vote for you because the Republicans are going to get in and ruin everything. And my Republican friends say, oh, we can't vote for you because the Democrats are going to get in. They're going to ruin everything. So this party affiliation, it just, I dread when we have elections anymore, especially for the president, because everybody says, vote for me, I'll set you free. And it never happens. They don't introduce science-based technologies to fix things. It's all based upon egos and stuff. So I'm just frustrated after all these years.
So you were just making a comment? Do you want me to respond to your comment? All right. I have to tell you, I'm pretty sure I didn't vote for you, whatever you ran for. And I apologize for that decades later. However, I think it's a serious problem in this country that there's been this explosion of nonpartisan voters. And one pollster once said to me, there's no such thing as a nonpartisan voters. We just have to find our side, who are the nonpartisans masquerading, the Democrats masquerading as nonpartisans, and Republicans masquerading as nonpartisans. One of the reasons that Joe Lombardo is governor and Adam Laxalt is not a senator is Joe Lombardo's campaign set up a model to find the independents that would vote for him, especially in Clark County. And Adam Laxalt said, nah, we don't have to worry about that. The Republicans will elect me. Well, you see what happened there. So people are disgusted with both major parties for the reasons, or most of the reasons that you suggest. And people should vote for the person, not the party. But it's becomes, the ones who remain in the parties are so blindly loyal. You look at I spoke about crosstabs in polls. Look at the polls, and it's 94-6 or 95-5, and you look at the crosstabs, Democrats, 95% are going to vote for Harris, and Republicans, 94%, 95% are going to vote for Trump. People aren't discerning anymore the way they should be. And I probably talked about this ad infinitum and probably several times before this club, this validation culture that we have out there in America, where conservatives only watch Fox News and liberals only watch MSNBC just so they can throw confetti in their living room and say, yeah, I was right about that. They're not trying to get information. They just want to follow along like sheep. And it's too bad. And people register independent and say it's now going to be different. But, and that's why open primaries have such appeal. So people like you and me, I'm a nonpartisan, can vote in primaries. By the way, I'm against open primaries. That's a different discussion. But you're not going to like do a rebuttal now about how great the Natural Law Party was, are you? It looks like it. All right, I'm done.
Okay. I got a whopping 11% of the vote. Here's Jerry.
That's not bad, actually.
John, there's so much in the paper about who can vote and who can't vote, and there's a mishmash. You think by election time they're going to get it straightened out, or are many people going to be disenfranchised?
Well, that's a very good question, Jerry. The problem is twofold. One is, and I don't blame just Trump for this from 2020. I blame much more his enablers, both especially elected officials, who repeated his completely unfounded claims about the election being stolen. And that has caused a significant number of people in this country to question the results of elections, which is a terribly pernicious thing to happen in this country. But the other side of that coin is that there are issues. There are issues with the voting process. Now let's just talk about Nevada, and this issue exists in other places too. There is no uniform way that has existed to clean up voter rolls, and so you have a lot of people who have moved out of the state or are dead, who are still on the voter rolls, and so that makes people think, well, wait a second. Now, you know, the Republicans said this is what's happening in Nevada in 2020 when they made all their allegations, and it turns out the only person who was caught doing it was the guy they trotted out at a press conference who said his dead wife had cast a ballot, and it turned out he had cast her ballot for her. Voter fraud is very rare, but what's true here and what's true across the country is that the Secretary of State's office does not have all the resources it needs to clean voter rolls, to police voter fraud, to do those kinds of things. Nevada actually has a very good track record, and by national groups, nonpartisan groups, in terms of how, quote unquote, clean our elections are. But a lot of people don't believe it. And so just this morning, the Republican National Committee and the Trump campaign sued the Secretary of State over these unclean voter rolls and claimed illegal citizens are voting. Which, by the way, there's no evidence of that. There's evidence of undocumented people being registered, but there's absolutely no evidence that any of them have ever voted. But here's what the Republicans are doing. This is the fourth lawsuit they filed against the Secretary of State, and they've all been reported. They're trying to set a table for after the election should Trump lose. Aha, we told you so with these lawsuits that we filed. And so even wise 94-year-olds are confused about what's going on out there, and it's too bad, and it's too late to change people from who are confused from being confused. That it? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll give you a certificate. You know the drill. You've been here enough.
The $1 million fee.
Of course. We'd like to recognize you with some shoes that we call in our Happy Feet Community Service Program in your name.
Thank you so much.
This will go with those shoes.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, John. Thank you. Can you picture?
Sure.
All right, so in the words of Stephanie Urchik, she believes in our members and calls for them to recognize and amplify the organization's power to save lives. Let's build something together. Meeting adjourned.